comms marketing is dead. Like, growth marketing is the future. A marketer, a CMO that has a number, owns strategy for the company is the future. Our ability to see what's real and not is getting sharper. And I can see that too. Like, it's really quick for me. I couldn't even tell you, but to like know when something was AI written and not. Marketers should not be being told that number and going to run. So I am helping to develop that number with my teams because I have the math and the data to show how we actually hit it. Marketing's next best friend needs to be product. Instead of getting the product and then making it pretty and bringing it out to market, it's about understanding, delivering what that message should be at the beginning. B2B has to enter into actually doing real brand and storytelling. And that's how you actually build the staying power and longevity of something. And I think that's even more important with AI gunk everywhere.
Hey, this is William Tidcup and Ryan Leary. You are listening, hopefully watching, the CMO Pivot. It's a new podcast for Ryan and I, and it's all about the CMO role and how it's changing and how marketing is changing. So we bring in CMOs to then school everybody on kind of their thoughts, give their opinions. Ryan, how are you doing today?
I'm wonderful. I am excited. I'm ready to learn today. This is interesting because we don't sit in this space every day, so we can't actually talk about all of this stuff, right? We can tell stories, but we're going to learn, and I'm happy about that.
Cara, how are you? What?
I'm doing well. What I'm hearing from you all is I can just say a bunch of BS and you'll nod along.
100%.
We're just going to nod, Cara, and we're just going to...
Tell me more about that.
Wonderful.
Tell me. Like Rogerian psychology? You just answer a question with a question. It's like, well, how does that make you feel?
Yeah.
So, would you do us a favor and introduce yourself? We know you, but the audience might not.
Yeah, absolutely. I am Cara Christopher. I am a CMO at a tech company. I happen to sit right now in a little town called Moscow, Idaho, in northern Idaho. And yeah, very pleased to be here to give a little bit of background on where I've been living in the CMO role and where it's going. I have been leading in marketing for well over a decade in tech at different stages and sizes, B2B tech for 8 years. And so I, through COVID and AI and all the fun things, have seen how it's changed. I may not have all the answers, but definitely can give a sense of my little world, and happy to jump in today.
Have you always lived in Idaho?
I grew up in Montana, so we'll call it very similar.
Well, yeah. Well, for people like me in Texas, it's like all that stuff there. North Dakota, South Dakota.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's borders.
Nice, and the area is beautiful. So yeah.
I was about to say the last time I was in Idaho I was fly fishing.
Oh yeah.
And the people were so nice, like crazy nice, because we had to be taught first. And I went up there for an analyst event, and so we went out to like kind of a stock pond, and so we all tried it on.
So you just catch everything no matter what you do.
Oh, so it's the Steelcase River, I think, that we were on, if I remember correctly, and it's catch and release. You'd love it. You'd love it. It's fly fishing. If there's an art to it that obviously I didn't get to, the artistic part, but man, you can see them. There's so many fish, you can see them in the river. The water's clear, like you can see them. It's just fun, and like the people that are our guides and everything, everyone was so chill. Like it was nice.
Oh no, I did a stint, nothing against Colorado, but I moved to Colorado for a bit, and I then came back to Idaho. I was like, oh, people are just so nice. It's like you're walking down the street and you say hello to everybody.
Yeah.
Cara, I'm in
ladies.
in the Philly area, and when I go to New York, I can't wait to come home. And Philly's not something to be happy about, right? But when I go to New York, I'm happy when I come home because people are just much nicer than New York.
I have to give up my game up. For when I go to New York, coming from the South, I have to speed things up. like I'm not normally, so I'll talk and maybe hit the same topic 3 or 4 times, and like that doesn't work in New York. I don't make friends there.
No,
So
Texas and New York, very different.
I'll just go, okay, get to the point really quickly. Go, just get there. Just say what you think real quick, and then don't, if they ask for evidence, great, then present it.
I love it.
Yeah. So let's jump in. Let's do this. So, Cara, I'm just gonna jump in with like the big picture question, because I know you've been in this game for a long time. The difference between when you started until now, what is that? Tell us about that. Talk us through that change and what you've seen.
Yeah. So obviously my experience is based on like where I've been and how I've grown into marketing. And so I've seen different stages and sizes. So I started working when I was in a small organization. So like we had to map customer journey to even figure out how you build demand gen to then actually build the system to have the whole thing working. And I think I say that I also have a background where I owned marketing and sales together. And I think both of those are like two foundational things that like stay true still to how I think about
Yeah.
how I lead today. And so like getting a customer journey map really clear and partnering and aligning with sales are like two core and fundamental things. However, I think there has definitely been some like fundamental changes, or I'd like to see the changes continue in how I look at marketing. I think a big one, and I think Willie, you mentioned your background, you were a creative and you started to get like pushed into like demand gen and math, and it was like, this is no longer fun. And
No.
I resonate with that. I have a background. I am an artist that knew like I couldn't do art for a living and I needed to do something else. And so I found myself in marketing, but I still feel very strongly that at the core, marketing is storytelling and your ability to create and tell stories, and that's becoming even more important since AI. I live and breathe in B2B, and that's become really important in B2B. Like you can't just live off of doing webinars and really boring
It was a
playbooks.
nice playbook, but the
Yeah.
playbook,
Yeah.
we're going to need a new playbook.
You
Yeah,
can't
like
do
no one
webinars and
cares
ebooks
about.
anymore.
Yeah. So I say that because I think you have to both like love the journey and the demand gen part of this program, but you have to care a lot about creative. And so if I were gonna like start this whole conversation, I would say like the big one that like comms marketing is dead, like growth marketing
Right.
is the future. A marketer, a CMO that has a number, owns strategy for the company is the future. And I'm biased, but someone that has a real strong belief and understanding of how to match creative with the math is
Right.
where the future will go. So happy to unpack any of those.
Yeah, I'll start with storytelling.
Yeah.
So what keeps me up at night? Not really. Is trust and AI. So that intersection point with especially Gen AI of, can you trust something? And I'm already seeing it like on Instagram where the same story, but it's different people. So you can and I've kind of come to a kind of an emotional place of like, I don't really care. It makes me laugh. Who cares? Now that's not necessarily everybody's view on that. So how do you build trust with your prospect universe, if you will?
Yeah.
And they know you and they start believing in the brand. They believe in like, or otherwise. I could be wrong about that, but just the storytelling and trust is where it would.
Yeah, I think just to like double down on what you said too, that it's amazing how I don't know if we can even say in our mind like how quick our minds are at seeing that something's not right. Like just oh, wait, that little AI thing is wrong, or like so. I just think we're like we don't even recognize it, but our ability to see what's real and not is sharp, getting sharper, and I can see that too. Like it's really quick for me. I couldn't even tell you, but to like know when something was AI written and not,
Oh,
and
Ryan
when
could do that.
you're
Y'all are
not.
y'all
Yeah.
are y'all are brother and sister on this one
It
because
kills me.
Ryan will know. And
Yeah.
some of it, like with all the emojis and stuff, like some of it's really obvious, the
Oh,
cut and
totally.
copy.
But the subtle things, my like brain is even seeing them. I'm sure everyone's are that. Anyway, you have to be. It's amazing because we have to make sure that obviously anytime we're telling stories that there is the trust becomes so important. And so at the end of the day, yeah, you can write a lot of things in ChatGPT, but there has to be trust and authenticity to that. And so that comes down to the basics, like telling, obviously in marketing, what are we doing? We're trying to get someone to know who we are so that they'll buy something from
Right,
us. And
right.
so knowing who we are can come from a lot of things, but the best is like how we actually solve your problems, the category in which we live and breathe, and that you should be thinking about and caring about. And we have to build that attention to earn the right to tell them more and more. And so I think there's a lot of ways to build attention, but to do it through the focus of building trust and giving value to the core problems and the people that you're actually speaking to is still, it always was the thing that marketing had to do, and it continues to be the thing that marketing should be doing.
Yeah, I've got this thing. It might just be a me thing. I'm just put it out there. It might just be a me thing. I'm not opposed to learning from and watching an AI thing. So an AI
Right,
influencer, for example, right?
right.
And so I'm okay with that if I know. Now I've been duped a couple of times, and I
Catfished?
followed, and I'm like, wow, this guy's pretty good. To come to find out, I'm like,
Yeah,
it's
it's not.
not real. Like
It's
3 weeks later. But so my question is this, okay? Companies that started, let's just say 40 years ago, 50 years ago, and they've had we'll call it traditional ways of building that trust with their consumers, with their buyers. Do they have an upper hand on companies that are starting today or maybe a couple of years ago who haven't had that lead time to build trust and they're just jumping into it at this point? Or is it the opposite way than what I'm thinking? A newer company can leverage this technology maybe better.
Yeah, I think it's probably both, but I would lean on, well, if like for us as a company, we had pre AI boom, we had really spent 20-year long company, spent a lot of time building on the belief that we drive and deliver value through thought leadership and content. Secondary, we make sure we cover every SEO channel on the market. So for us to be entering into this, we are already have a foot in the door and credibility, audience, trust, and a lot of content that we can continue to build and push through this new channel and experience. And so I feel like that's such a benefit, but obviously we have to have a willingness and openness to change. So if you're 40 years and you're not going to change, then good luck. Whereas you're new, you have to create all of that. And so you're going to naturally go and create that through the AI, LLMs, and channels. And so you have to find a way to differentiate. And by no means, I'm a AI lover. Like I love AI. So
yeah, yeah.
I want to make sure that
In
that's
case you're listening, in case you're
yeah.
listening. Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah,
well,
yeah.
I just marketers for me, I grew up with a desktop computer like entering into my home, a mobile phone like
Hmm.
entering into my life in
I
my
like how you
marketing.
said mobile.
Yeah,
That's
mobile,
nice.
mobile. Go
I
back.
could never say that. I never
Mobile.
could say that.
Mobile. Huh.
I
One
can
of the
It's
never.
flip
not old.
phones.
But that's what I wanted to make sure because my next one was going to be like, as I was a marketer, the iPhone launched. As I was a
Oh
marketer,
yeah,
social
Yeah, you
media launched.
learned.
As I was a marketer, AI has launched. And like, if there
yeah.
wasn't some major transformational change within marketing in every 5 years, I probably wouldn't recognize it as marketing. So like, I'm like, game on. This is just great. Like, this is what makes us amazing.
It seems
Yeah.
like the waves are getting faster though with
Yeah.
AI.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah.
that's the bit because a lot of people use the analogy of the beginning of the internet. And well, oh my God, you had yellow pages, and now you don't have yellow pages. All right, so all that stuff.
Yeah.
But it just seems like yeah, you can make that analogy. That there's a massive amount of change. However, it it seems that the waves of AI change are coming in seconds and minutes. Not weeks and years or months. Like not longer term. I want to dig into something you said about a number. own the number. So create the number, own the number. First of all, twofold. What is that number? Generally speaking, because I think we're thinking about like the funnel and all of that type of stuff. So I want to make sure I got that right. Second, how do you deal with unrealistic numbers? Because it's always been there in sales too. So we'll just talk about sales right now, and then you'll apply it to marketing. Sales will have a number, and the board or the CEO will then say, that's a good number, but we really need to make that number this number. Oh no, we're not going to give you any more resources or budget. No, the budget's got to stay the same, but we need this number, whatever that may be. So tell us a little bit about the number, and then how you deal with adversity around the number.
Yeah, really good question. When I say own the number and own growth, is marketers should not be being told that number and going to run. So I am helping to develop that number with my teams because I have the math and the data to show how we actually hit it. And so when I own the number, I own pipeline. I am the leader. I own all pipeline, not inbound bullshit. Like I own all pipeline because at the end of the day, they're all interconnected. And so my ability
Is this, I'm sorry, Cara, is it still an MQL, SQL game?
Yeah, MQL, SQL game, but also outbound, inbound. That's a very common thing. I would say most CMOs probably own an inbound number, an inbound. Maybe they own just SQL or an MQL. Then to get to like an inbound number you need to do that. If you're not there, then you need to own all pipeline. That's where I'm at. And so I think that's really powerful. So I own the BDR teams. I own how the outbounding motion happens. I own the inbound plan because at the end of the day, back to I know our customer journey, our customers do 15 engagements before we ever see them. They reach out to talk with us, and that's 50% from inbound and outbound activity.
And for the audience's edification, it's 2 newsletters, 4 emails, 1 this at a whatever.
Calling a salesperson, meeting with them, a conference. Yeah, but like all of those intermixed are coming from lots of different channels. And so over time, we found that like just pretending marketing only owns a part of that and is accountable to it it's not how our audience actually engages. And so bringing them together, having marketing own the full understanding of the pipeline and be really close with the delivery to sales and how that will support the sales number ultimately is so important. And that, like, hopefully you have a good relationship with your CEO and board to be like, we have to come up with something that's realistic. Of course, they're always going to push you, as they should, of like, can you still do more than that?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
there's always a time, I'm in the beginning of a year where you're like, can we? And you push, but you don't want it to be, I have been in a marketing position where you're told it. And then
Yeah.
it's like, there are some very big gaps to how you're going to do it and you're set up for failure. So own a number, be a part of the build.
What's the risk? So on the flip side to that, what's the risk if you don't own the entire, if you don't own everything, if you're just centered over demand gen, for example? Maybe talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, at least in my history, I've seen that quickly marketing can be seen as a cost center. And so it's a nice to have. And so if you're someone that's put in like you're a comms marketer, so you just do PR that we can have or don't have to have, or brand marketing that can be a negative. What's I say brand can be a negative to people that don't understand it. Then you can be a place that's easily cut. Also in demand gen, if you are just seen as demand gen, that's right, you miss that like storytelling. You could put the best engine together. You could be so sharp on how your email sequences are going, but if no one actually cares with what you have to say, knows what you do and how you help them, like they're never gonna buy. And so I think demand gen is a nice to have once you have like an engine of people who care about what it is that you built the attention, you built the demand for people caring what you have to say. So.
Oh yeah, of course. How do you, so the justifiable stuff of that helps you get to the number, the activity layer that you build, and you try obviously a lot of A/B testing, try this, try that, this, that, and the other. I get all that. What about the activities that aren't necessarily math based? Like the messaging somehow falls flat. And then again, no one's ever really happy with messaging. But one thing I've noticed is when sales teams give up on the message, you probably need to redo things. It's not sticking for them for whatever reason. Might be the best message ever, but it's not sticking. So, how do you deal with the things that are out there that there isn't a return on?
Yeah. I think you mentioned a good one that there is some signal you can get from that just from your own teams and belief and how people repeat back to things. Obviously, all that takes a lot of time though. So I will say there is intuition and art to marketing that can never be being counted. And so I, as a marketer, have to have conviction in our plan, even if it's not perfect. And I do that. I feel strongly that I hired a strong brand creative leader. I have an in-house creative team. I think those two are really critical steps. And guess what? I give them the ability to not think I have to they're not performance marketers, and I do not want them to be performance marketers. I have them partnered with performance marketing to make sure we don't lose sight. But I think if you have the luxury of a budget, you should really do that because it allows that art to be pushed. Because if you just have a performance marketer that's going to AI create your program, I think you're going to have a really hard time scaling.
Yeah. I wanted to go back to, you mentioned, if engagement and you have 15 different engagements or so for you specifically, not for everybody, before they become a customer. Talk about those engagements because I think, William, as did you, we both thought maybe content. What was the engagement what are the engagements
That's
that
a
they're
good
going
point.
through
Yeah, we called it
before they get there?
touches back
Yeah.
100 years ago, back in caveman days. We called
Yeah.
it touches, but yeah,
Yeah, but you're talking about more, they've interacted with sales. They interacted with you at a booth, at an event, some different type of activation. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so it goes back if someone's starting here, they want to redesign what I would call a marketing engine, go to and build out your customer journey because it's different by market and experience. Where are your customers buying? So do they like to read research? Where are they researching? Are they on Google? Are they on AI? Are they talking to their friends? Are they listening to analysts and thought leaders? What are they doing? What conferences? Do they attend conferences? Understand the journey of your customers because we have very distinct we sell to academics, so
yeah.
more traditionally male reading long form would love printed materials. That is very different for other people that are selling. So if you understand that journey, then you craft your marketing to that journey and you understand those touch points. Of course,
Are you still building?
yeah.
Are you still building personas
Yes,
for
yes,
those? Okay,
yes.
okay, okay.
Yes, absolutely. I think all the 101 marketing is still. I know AI feels so transformative, but it's at the end of the day, we're still doing the things that
Yeah,
Still doing the
yeah.
basics.
and you have to know and I think the thing that changes, which is good and a challenge, is there is people have closed off their cookies. They're not as trackable, but you can track so many things now that you get a general sense of where people are at but I will say that it's not always obvious. We didn't know. We just always thought, oh, we get a lead that comes in. It takes 90 days to close. We operated off a last touch model, meaning all we saw, their last touch was they came to this website or they did this conference and that was our model. And then we opened up to a multi-touch attribution model, which allowed us to see all the many buyers, all the actual 90 days prior to what we saw, they were doing all these things. And it just made us smarter in how we do our marketing. Not everyone has the ability to see that, but I think the tenets are true that if you understand your journey to the most part, build to that, then you can start to just be more mathematical about how you can move people through.
What do you think? I mean, in B2B, it's always been marketing subservient in some ways to sales because it's got to work for sales. Ultimately, if it's a single position, that's one thing, but even if it's different, it's two. at the end of the day, people are just going to look at the results, right? So what's that relationship now, kind of current state, future state? What does it look like for you? Now what's your relationship with the chief revenue officer or whatever they call themselves now? What is that, and then what do you think it will become?
Yeah. Um, my hot take, so because I come from a place of strength with my CRO that, sales and marketing lockstep, but having marketing on the pipeline like removes that ability of inbound, outbound, blah, blah, blah. So we've got that settled, and actually my hot take is marketing's next best friend needs to be product. So we've moved that marketing's no longer like, just
So, Carol, what's the relationship between the sales leadership, marketing leadership? It used to be one where they're not necessarily diametrically opposed, but there was a lot of doubles tennis type stuff, a blame game between the two. What do you see that as now, and what do you see that as in the future?
Yeah, I think sales and marketing is critical. You got a line on success, you got a line on the numbers. Like I said, I found a lot of success in marketing owning the total pipeline number because it's gotten away from the whole inbound, outbound fight that I feel like is the natural place that it happens. I also believe that marketing should be its own function and not under the CRO, even though there's been a model to do that, because we had pieces of that and ended up moving it out, and it just becomes that any extra effort in marketing just becomes this like sales support. And so all of a sudden the marketers are doing sales decks when they should be
Right, right.
doing other things. So I'm a big believer that they are different crafts and they need to be outside, but obviously that relationship with the CRO and CMO need to be super tight. But my hot take is that the future of the CMO is actually making sure they're super tight with the CPO, the product owner. Instead of getting the product and then making it pretty and bringing it out to market, it's about understanding, delivering what that message should be at the beginning, working really tightly with the CPO through a product marketing function, and then delivering that to sales to catch. And that has been, I think, a game changer for how we operate. Go to market is really led by marketing through the product. And I just think that that's like core
And
to the next stage.
just a quick follow-up. Is that assuming that the chief product officer owns customer success? Like how do you get that data? Is I guess the question, right? Or how do CMOs in the future, how do they get the data that's coming from success?
Absolutely. Well, same. There's a voice of customer program that is joint owned by product and by marketing, with sales and customer support. So like all of us are in those things, but yeah, I think the closer you are to understanding the customer experience, which marketing needs to be there, if not lead a lot of that, then you're already a part of that early conversation. You're not just catching the ideas. So again, if my theme is marketing's growth, because marketing is at the center of how you grow, not just the setup as the organization that makes everything pretty. And that's, I think, yeah, where marketing will die, and where how I've seen success is getting us into the strategic growth driver of the business.
So Kara, we see a lot of demos in what we do, right, in software. And I think often when we see a ton of these, but we also see the aftermath of the demo with the consumers, with the buyers of the software. And it often doesn't happen. So demos aren't converting. So the demo is fantastic. They go on the demo, they're wowed on the demo, but then it stops. And it's almost like they're in full-fledged sales mode, but the story stops and the conversations stop. Why does that happen? Why, if it's so important, why is that still happening?
Yeah, I think it's like the whole thing at the end of the day is you have to have product market fit, and you have to actually know and can sell that product. And so it's like the basics of how business works. Like you have a product that someone wants to buy. You then market that product so someone knows that it's there, and then you sell it. And so if we forget any of those things on that continuum, then something has been broken. And so I think on that, I've had the luxury of working for businesses that sell something awesome and we lead in that. So I'm happy. Like I have not been at a startup where you're still trying to figure out like, will this product even work?
Vaporware.
Yeah, so I will say I obviously am a little biased in that I haven't lived and breathed like we get to this point and we've sold them to the demo and then we can't actually close them. So I'm thankful in that. But by no means have we everything we've launched to market worked. So I've seen that happen where back to that customer loop, like you can have an amazing launch, you can build all the pipeline, but you can have $1 that you actually sold. So something broke and you have to go figure that out and have the ambition to go chase that before you call the product dead. And I think that's just the normal cycle, like I said, of building a product, selling it, and having customers and renewing it. And we got to keep that in the forefront.
Right, did you have a follow-up?
Yeah, I want one follow-up if I could. So I know, and if this takes us off path, bring us back and just cancel me.
Surely. Cancel?
Cancel me, whatever, cancel me. I'm used to it. It's cool. So I know you're big in the brand, and I wanted to ask you this question. So I go back to MailChimp, and for whatever reason, I loved MailChimp. I love the monkey. I love the branding. The whole thing was fun. I just loved it. So it wasn't a matter of I needed an email marketing platform. It wasn't a matter of is it really good or is it just as good as a Constant Contact? Because I didn't really like Constant Contact, but I didn't like it because the branding wasn't amazing. Honest story. Sometimes I buy that way. And so I was already sold on MailChimp. And I'm curious, from your experience, how much does brand play a part in that when they get to the demo, they're just like, no, I'm in. Yeah. I just need to make sure it checks all these boxes and you got my money.
You are speaking exactly to my heart in that I'm like, you have to have a brand point of view and a story that everyone cares about, and the product, if there's product market fit, will sell itself. And I feel like the opportunity in front of B2B is exactly that, because there's this, like, you are a buyer that experiences brands through shoes just as you experience it through a website, and you want to feel connected to that brand. If you don't, then you probably don't even know you have it and don't care and will switch. And so I have always felt that like B2B has to enter into actually doing real brand and storytelling. And that's how you actually build the staying power and longevity of something. And I think that's even more important with AI gunk everywhere, because if everyone's just building a blue and white playbook, like with an AI created face, like we as
was that the Model T came in one color?
Like we're sophisticated buyers. We understand the nuances, things, and that's not going to get us to understand, care, trust in what this brand stands for. So huge believer.
Yeah, for the record, for everybody here,
you want to be canceled?
No, I don't want to be canceled. Not yet. Maybe after this kind of. So. After Intuit took them over, it just hit the crapper. It was no longer fun.
Yep. I was going to say, are they still, it's so funny because one thing I always say is I joined a company and their entire marketing was a free MailChimp. And we moved them off free MailChimp into a real system, and here we go. But it's funny because I look back and I'm like, is MailChimp even a thing anymore? Is that even a product? Like
People use it to basically send email blast to then get to the email bounces.
And we move off.
Yes, that's 100%.
Until you get booted.
Let's get all of that done, and now we have a clean list. Great. All right, last question, but I'm gonna give you two. You can pick one or the other or both. One is, what's your take on RFPs? Two, what are the skills, degrees, experiences, etc., that a future CMO needs? Totally up to you.
I'll take the skill.
That's a whole episode.
Yeah. RFPs, I don't know if I have any great.
So, last question. What is the meaning of life? What? Sorry.
I love it. I can always go back to my experiences. Obviously, you can have degrees as I do in business and in marketing, but I don't think that is the future are required for a leader in marketing, because B2B specifically, or marketing in general, is moving so fast. So someone that is getting in and living and breathing it every day is going to be much faster than anyone that has a degree in it. I do think, and I don't know if I have a perfect answer on this, because there's this push and pull of you can get super deep in one expertise. So if you want to be a CMO or a leader, like you have to be careful about just like I became the ad person or the demand gen person or the product marketing person. And what's hard about that is that's exactly the type of teams and leaders I'm hiring for, people that are really distinctly strong in those disciplines. So I say that it depends on career path, but you obviously I am more, I would say, a generalist with a strong leadership, business acumen, but a good both creative and performance backed mindset to marketing, and that's done me well. And then I would really encourage, just like you all have a podcast, your way of learning is obviously by doing, but then it's learning from other people doing the same work. I'm a big believer in podcasts and LinkedIn and influencers, because no one's going to tell me how to do this other than the people that are doing it. And I also love copying. There's no way we shouldn't be copying
100%.
how someone else does a landing page, or
100%.
the way that this
100%.
was put
I
together.
love that you
It's
said that.
both a form of flattery and, oh, by the way, I didn't think of that.
Yeah, we should never, this day and age, it would be crazy to start from scratch. So we learn from each other. Obviously, you make it better. But that's really how you learn in the space. And I'm happy to dive in if there's any thoughts or questions on those.
I love that you said we need to be copying.
Yeah. That might be the title of the show, because you also followed that with, there's no need to start from scratch. And that's how we all that's how we'd think. It's like blank screen. All right, here we got a blank screen, or here we got a blank page. What do we want to do? It's like,
why do that?
Why?
Yeah.
Why do that? So.
Sorry I interrupted, Rod.
Oh, Cara, this has been amazing. Thank you so much. I feel like I can now be a CMO. So, William, you need to find yourself another co-host.
Yeah, fair.
I mean, maybe Cara will hire me in demand gen for a week, and then we'll move out of that pretty quickly.
Absolutely, love it.
Too fun. Thank you so much. We appreciate you, and thanks for the audience for listening.